Now at 10, going to have the latest from Ukraine after Russia began an invasion of that country and how recent bouts of cold weather have depleted supplies at area homeless shelters.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Today marks the second day of war after Russia invaded Ukraine, the largest war in Europe since World War II. More than 130 Ukrainians have been killed so far, hundreds injured, but the death toll is surely expected to sharply rise. Skylar Henry reports from Capitol Hill on the latest developments on the crisis in Ukraine.
Blasts lit up the night sky just after sunset in Kharkiv in eastern Ukraine. These tanks are evidence of the fierce fighting from the night before, as Russia sent in troops from three sides and launched more than 100 airstrikes. This video was captured when a Russian fighter jet flew overhead.
It's really terrible. I got up at 5 o'clock and I listen a lot of bomb.
He'll spend the night underground with hundreds of others in a subway station.
It will be scary to stay at home at night. It will be dark.
Also in eastern Ukraine, this apartment building was bombed, killing at least one and injuring 15 others. In an early morning address, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky ordered a full military mobilization and urged his people to stay calm. He said he has information he's the #1 target for Russian forces, but vowed to remain in Kyiv. Ukraine also reported losing control of the Chernobyl nuclear plant after a tough battle. The White House says it's outraged about reports that Russian troops are holding the staff there hostage. Earlier, President Biden announced more sanctions against Russian banks and oligarchs and restrictions on high-tech exports.
Putin is the aggressor. Putin chose this war. And now he and his country will bear the consequences.
The president also sent 7,000 additional troops to Germany. Here on Capitol Hill, members of Congress were given an unclassified briefing Thursday afternoon.
I have some advice. Ratchet the sanctions all the way up.
Meanwhile, Ukrainians streamed out of cities desperate to escape. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Martial law was declared in Ukraine and there is now an overnight curfew. All right, meteorologist Katie joining us now. Going to get cold tonight, really cold, huh?
It is, and it's still a little bit on the windy side, so that just kind of cuts through you and makes it feel a little bit worse than what it actually is. But at least we're getting rid of this storm system that gave us sleet, some snow over the past couple days. We are still on the backside. This gave us some freezing drizzle. Now we still have some snow flurries and snow showers out there, but be careful if you are going to be out because there are some slick spots that you can't see on the road due to a little bit of freezing drizzle that we've had throughout the evening hours. Temperatures are dropping mid-teens on the Kansas side, still lower 20s in our southern counties, but temps are going to drop back tonight. Once the clouds really start to break up here after about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, we should go down to about 8 or 10 degrees for an overnight low. So a very cold start, at least a little bit better for us tomorrow. We get some sunshine. High temperature right around 30 degrees. We're going to look into the weekend here in just a bit.
All right, Doug, thanks so much. The winter storm may be on the way out, but roads can still be dangerous, as Doug was talking about. Road crews in Missouri are working to keep drivers safe, but there are some important things to keep in mind. This storm brought sleet and freezing rain. With temperatures remaining low, that ice hasn't been able to fully melt, and it might not be always able to see.
They're just trying to get off what they can, putting down, some abrasives to try to allow people to maintain some traction and trying to stay ahead of it. I think is what they were trying to do. They're ultimately out there chasing it, trying to get it to a dry condition.
Officials also recommend just taking it slow and giving other drivers plenty of room. KDOT pre-treated their roads in Kansas with a salt mixture, and officials there say the roads in Kansas are back to normal, for the most part anyway. Even still, they warn there could be some slick spots, so always keep an eye out.
So they've been out treating and clearing, and mostly it's the granular salt and salt brine, and that helps, get the ice all melted. And we do use some beet juice in some locations, and that works a little better at lower temperatures.
For more information on road conditions, just head over to our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Temperatures across the region have remained low the past few days, causing strain for everyone, especially those with nowhere else to go. Area shelters like Soul's Harbor and Watered Gardens both say they've been seeing an increase in people signing up for the shelter. Over at Solds Harbor, they say they also have a need for many items like hats, scarves, and gloves for people in need. For information on how to donate to area shelters, you can go to our website again. That's KOAMnewsnow.com. All right there. Missouri lawmakers passed a stopgap budget plan that again seeks to strip any public funding from Planned Parenthood while paying for Medicaid expansion and pumping money to schools. The budget plan is primarily needed to dole out roughly $1.7 billion in federal funding directly to schools before the end of the state fiscal year in June. But Republicans also added a provision aimed at blocking public funding for Planned Parenthood centers, including clinics that don't provide abortions. Republicans in the Kansas legislature moved to block local bans, restrictions, or taxes on plastic bags or other packaging. The state Senate voted for a bill that would strip cities and counties of their power to regulate or tax bags, cups, bottles, or other packaging. The measure would cover not only plastic, but cloth, paper, cardboard, aluminum, glass, or foamed plastic like styrofoam. The bill goes next to the House. Still ahead, jurors reach a verdict in the month-long federal civil rights trial of 3 former Minneapolis police officers involved in George Floyd's killing back in May of 2020. And later, Moderna announcing it's moving ahead with testing on its new COVID-19 booster. Jurors reached a verdict in the month-long federal civil rights trial of 3 former Minneapolis police officers involved in George Floyd's killing back in May of 2020. 2 held Floyd down, while the 3rd kept bystanders away. All 3 pleaded not guilty and were tried together in a case that came down to a legal definition that courts have grappled with for years. Naomi Ruckham has more.
After less than 2 days of deliberation, a jury in Minneapolis convicted 3 former Minneapolis police officers of violating George Floyd's civil rights. The fired officers, J. Alexander King, Thomas Lane, and Tu Tao, were found guilty on all charges.
This is just accountability. It can never be justice because I can never get George back.
All 3 were charged with depriving Floyd of his right to medical care, while Derek Chauvin pressed his knee into Floyd's neck for 9.5 minutes. King and Tao were also charged with failing to intervene to stop Chauvin. Prosecutors said the defendants chose to do nothing, and in doing so caused Floyd's death. The defense argued the men deferred to Chauvin as the senior officer and cast blame on inadequate training policies of the Minneapolis Police Department. All 3 ex-officers testified in their defense. The case came down to the legal concept of willfulness, the intent to commit crimes, and the prior knowledge that the action is against the law. The 3 former officers face another trial in June on state charges of aiding and abetting murder and manslaughter. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News.
Derek Chauvin pleaded guilty in the federal case months after he was convicted of murder and manslaughter in a state trial. He's been imprisoned since last April. So far, so good for the 2022 jobs outlook in the U.S. The Labor Department reported continued claims for unemployment benefits fell to under 1.5 million for the week that ended February 12th. When adjusted for seasonal swings, that's the lowest that level has been since March of 1970. Initial jobless claims for last week held steady at 232,000. U.S. Postal Service saying it's going to use mostly gas-powered vehicles as it replaces its delivery fleet over the next decade. Yesterday, the USPS confirmed its plans to spend $11.3 billion to buy up to 165,000 new trucks, and 90% of them will be equipped with a gasoline engine. This decision, by the way, defies White House and EPA requests that the Postal Service switch to an all-electric lineup. Later, how completing household chores can impact your heart health.
Plus a super cold night for us tonight, and we're going to look at our next storm system coming up here in just next. Definitely another nasty day for us today. Temperatures struggled to warm up, but better than what we had yesterday when we only made it up to 16. We had sleet, snow during the morning hours, about 1/4 inch of sleet in Joplin. It was significantly lighter than the batch we had on Wednesday. For most of us, there was a batch really from Newton County, McDonald County, Berry County, back toward Grand Lake that did drop 1 inch of sleet earlier this morning. 14.25 inches sleet and snow is where we sit for the season. Average is 12. Last year we had 19.5. All right, we've had some freezing drizzle Most of this is cut off, but there are some slick spots out there, so be careful. There is, this is Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Of course, Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri. The heavy batches of ice that we had earlier today, these are all gone. They rotated right up Interstate 44 really from about 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. But we had some thunder sleet in that line right there as it races off toward the north and to the east. Still some light little snow showers and flurries out there. Not a big deal. Clouds are going to break up as we go through the overnight hours, and our temperatures will really start to drop. We did go into lower 20s, 4 highs for us today. Now we're dropping back. 15 Yates Center, 15 Neodesha Pitt, sitting at 19, 23 in Miami, 23 in Anderson and Lamar, sitting at 20 degrees. We've had these northerly winds kicking in all day long. That makes it feel even colder than what it actually is. So we get the wonderful wind chill, the way it feels to your skin. 5, 10, so it's cold. It's going to stay cold as we go through the overnight hours. At least this storm system's heading out of here. We do have a weak wave. I'm watching this as we head into the weekend. It's mainly going to slide to our south, but it's close enough that it has my attention. Now, it's a very weak system, but still something I want to watch. All right, actual temperature, 7 to about 10. Later on tonight, wind chills below 0, about -5. We get a little sunshine in the morning, partly sunny skies during the afternoon. At least we start to warm up a little bit more. Starting at 8, 25 by noon, high temp right around 30. Northerly winds at about 5 to 10. As we go into tomorrow night, we back down again, mid-teens for overnight lows. Let's go into Saturday. Partly sunny skies, clouds increase late in the day. Look just into northwestern Arkansas, Benton County, some showers, maybe even mixing in with a little sleet. This should stay south of us, but close enough, we want to keep our eyes on it. And then Sunday, I think we should make it up near 50. We're going to go near 60 by Monday and then hold near 60 degrees most of next week. Here's Wednesday, next storm system. We get a nice little break, giving us chances for thunderstorms roll in by next Friday. 30 tomorrow, 40 Saturday, 50 on Sunday, near 60 by Monday. Really, temperatures all next week shaping up pretty good.
Yeah, you can't really complain.
No, not at all. A lot better than what we've seen the past few days.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Doug Heddy, thank you so much. Climate change is leading to more extreme heat, and the soaring temperatures take a toll on mental health. A new study out of Boston found that on extremely hot summer days, American adults were at an increased risk of visiting emergency rooms for mental health crisis. Most cases were related to substance abuse, anxiety, also stress. Moderna testing a new kind of COVID-19 booster. It's a bivalent booster, which combines both an Omicron-specific vaccine along with the company's original COVID-19 vaccine. The company says there could be data for the booster sometime in March. Pfizer has also been working on an Omicron-specific vaccine and a bivalent vaccine, though FDA officials say it's unclear whether an Omicron-specific vaccine is going to be even necessary. Here's another reason to get those household chores done. It could help lower your heart disease risk. That's according to a new study in the Journal of the American Heart Association. Mary Maloney has a closer look at why small, daily movements can have a big impact.
Want to boost your heart health? Running marathons or doing intense workouts aren't the only way. Simple household chores may be all you need.
Our study shows that just about any movement counts.
Steve Nguyen is the lead author of a new study published in the Journal of the American Heart Association. A team of researchers at UC San Diego measured the physical activity of more than 5,000 American women between the ages of 63 and 97 and discovered doing chores like washing dishes, vacuuming, and cooking lowered their heart disease risk.
Any housework that we do, working in the kitchen, gardening, sort of all sorts of daily living activities.
The study found women who spent engaged in what they call daily life movement for at least 4 hours had a 43% lower risk of developing either cardiovascular disease or coronary heart disease, which includes heart attacks. They also had a 30% lower risk of stroke and a 62% lower risk of dying from cardiovascular disease. Researchers say the study could change how healthcare providers and caregivers discuss physical activity with patients.
Our hearts and cardiovascular systems do not particularly distinguish whether we're getting our movement through walking or running or through daily life movement.
Researchers say people of all ages could see a similar benefit.
We have no reason to think that there would not be benefit. We would just like to replicate our findings.
For today's Health Minute, I'm Mary Maloney.
Researchers say this study builds on previous research showing that light physical activity does have health benefits. As many as 2.6 million Americans prescribed opioids also use various other sedatives anyway. That's according to new research that finds opioid users with severe pain, anxiety, and sleep disorders were the most likely group to use multiple drug treatments. Researchers say further studies are needed to establish safety guidelines when combining these powerful medications. Eating less meat may help reduce the overall risk of cancer. British researchers studied the diets of nearly 500,000 adults and found that cancer risk was 2% lower among those who ate meat 5 times or less per week. The risk was 10% lower for those who ate fish but not meat, and 14% lower for vegans and vegetarians. A new study shows why dogs may really be man's best friend. Researchers tracked more than 11,000 older adults in Japan. They found those who owned dogs were half as likely to have a disability. The study says the daily care, companionship, and exercise that come with dog ownership may play an important role in healthy aging. Coming up in sports, Carl Junction girls preparing to begin the playoffs as the #1 seed in the district. And Missouri Southern women facing Washburn, aiming for their 14th straight win. Jacob Leonard has that and more next.
The Missouri Southern Lions are just 3 days and 2 games away from finishing up the regular season. And both games are on the road, beginning tonight with a trip to Topeka to face Washburn. On the women's side, Southern enters the night on a 13-game winning streak. Midway through the 4th, Amaya Johns. Nice step back from mid-range. The Lions go up 7. Now the lead is just 5 here with 10 seconds to go. Abby Oliver drives and scores. That makes it a 1-possession game. Washburn forced to foul, obviously. Now Haley Grant on the other end knocks down both free throws. That'll seal the deal. Lacey Stokes leads the way with 25. Go along with 6 boards. Maddie Stokes adds 8 and 7. It's 14 straight. Missouri Southern takes this one in Topeka 55-50. To the men now, Southern trying to split the season series with the Ichabods after falling by 10 in Joplin in January. RJ Smith gets the Lions on the board first with a long 2. He'll get another about a minute later. Smith again off the dribble. He scores 16 tonight for Missouri Southern. Avery Taggart leads the Lions with 26 tonight, his 3rd straight 20-point game. Goes and gets 2 of those here, but Washburn pulls away in the end, topping Southern 81-69. Well, the regular season is over and it's playoff time for Missouri high school basketball with district tournaments beginning this week. The Carl Junction girls are the #1 seed in the Class 5 District 6 bracket after going 20-7 in the regular season. Now they'll open up the playoffs on Saturday facing Hillcrest at Willard High School. The Bulldogs are aiming for their 7th consecutive district championship. Now they know they have a target on their backs from their recent playoff success, but they're ready for that challenge.
We can score in multiple ways, and we have 2 or 3 really good scores. We have been rebounding really well right now. That's a piece that I think other teams are going to look at and think, hey, we need to get them off the boards. A lot of that's due to Kylie Scott and Anna Birch have done a tremendous job.
I'm sure teams are wanting to end our tradition of winning districts. I think it definitely puts a target on us.
Today is the final day of the Kansas Girls High School Wrestling State Championships. Now, the Columbus Titans finished 3rd as a team today with Addie Saporito leading the way. Saporito took 3rd place today in the 109-pound bracket. It's the 2nd straight year she's finished 3rd at state. Brooklyn Lima placed 4th in the 138-pound bracket for the Titans. Jalen Rodriguez 6th at 143. In all, we had 11 local girls placed at state. These 7 right there in the top 5. Check out a full list of state placers on the sports page at KOAMnewsnow.com. Finally, weather's still messing things up. Friday's MIAA baseball conference opener between Pittsburgh State and Missouri Southern been pushed back a few days. The 2 teams will now play a doubleheader on Sunday and the final game of the series on Monday. Game 1 of Sunday's doubleheader is at 1, while Monday's finale begins at 3. And that's it for sports. We're back with more news after this.
Take time now to honor a local veteran, Technical Sergeant Jack Hegwald. Served in the U.S. Air Force. He's from Humboldt, Kansas, and we are proud to salute and thank Technical Sergeant Jack Hegwald. He's tonight's four-state hero. All right, Coors Light, blessing its fans with a beer to fight off the bad guy downstairs, the devil. The adult beverage brand has shared on social media Wednesday that it's giving away free cans of its new Coors Almighty Light. The company says Coors Almighty is made with real, blessed water to, quote, ward off demons and keep your soul safe. Their website claims the limited batch is blessed by an ordained minister. And here's the thing, though. Their new product is a part of a team-up with the Foo Fighters to promote the band's new horror movie, Studio 666. So, guys, when we say that's strong beer, that's strong beer. You know what I mean? That's strong beer.
I do like a little Coors.
Just a little. Yeah.
Okay. So tonight, just keep warm. That's gonna be important.
Most of the moisture's out of here, but there are still some slick spots. So be careful if you're going to be out tonight into tomorrow morning. Temperature is way down there, about 8 degrees, but wind chill about -5 by morning. We do get some sunshine tomorrow, so we get to start the melting process. 30 for a high, 40 on Saturday, 50 by Sunday.
Final sports note letter.
Oh, we told you Lacey Stokes had 25 points tonight for Missouri Southern in their win over Washburn. It's her 5th consecutive 20-point game. She has to be. It's a crime if she's not the MIAA Freshman of the Year. We got to start talking about Player of the Year, man. She's been so good for them all season long.
Good for her. Yeah, nice. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great rest of the night. Be safe. See you tomorrow.